The No Fate channel, checking in. On this episode of Dad's Home Gym, I'm going to be giving you the top 4 reasons that I finally pried open that tightwad dad wallet and picked up a power rack for this home gym. I'm also going to be giving you an honorable mention. After I give you those top 4 reasons, I'm going to be telling you why I went with the colors that I did, if you actually happen to care. And finally, I'm going to give you what I actually had to shell out to pick this bad boy up. Let me know, comment below, if you own a power rack for your home gym. If this is your first time to the channel, give this video a like and hit that red subscribe button. On this Dad's Home Gym series, I just review a piece of home gym equipment to help you decide if it is right for your personal home gym, if you are going to get a ton of use out of that piece of equipment, and most importantly, if it's worth your hard-earned money. There are 4 main and primary reasons why, after nearly 11 years of building out my home gym, I finally picked up this Rep Fitness PR-4000 power rack. But there are some honorable mentions, and the biggest honorable mention is you. So many of my viewers and subscribers have been using my affiliate links, which are in the description of this video. And whether you use those links to pick up pieces of gym equipment, or you use those links to pick up Q-tips off of Amazon.com, you are supporting the channel, and I don't take that for granted. I take that money and essentially put it, boom, right back into the channel by picking up more pieces of gym equipment to do reviews for you. So if you have clicked on any of those links now or in the past or in the future, I do want to give you a huge thank you, because you help support this channel and you help make these reviews possible. The number one, the primary reason that I went with this power rack is because of safety. That's right, safety. For those of you new to the channel, you might not realize that for the longest time, far too long, I had been benching on the cheapest of cheap Amazon squat stands. Yep, it wasn't even meant to be benched on. The only safety was a small bar that happened to cover my face and a little bit of my throat area, so hopefully I wouldn't immediately die if I failed on a bench attempt, but there was no way to work out of a failed bench attempt. Also, that squat stand really shouldn't have been squatted in, because there was really no stability to be had, and racking and even unracking the weight caused a lot of movement, so much so that I certainly feared that at any point in time it might just tip over. And as well as the quality was so poor and the metal was so thin, I was always curious how heavy I would actually have to go for it to simply just collapse on me. And that brings me to the second reason, and that is I do want to squat more. One exercise that I absolutely love for hitting legs, especially those front quads, is a front squat. Unfortunately, with the old power squat stand from Amazon.com, I didn't feel safe front squatting whatsoever. And unfortunately, up until now, I've been using kettlebells and dumbbells to mimic that front squat, similar to like a goblet squat. but I've really been getting to the threshold of needing more weight because I'm running out of dumbbells and kettlebells that will support that front squat type movement. And that's not a humble brag. By no means am I a strong person, but I really want to get back into front squatting and kind of putting a little bit more weight on that barbell. And that the only way I was going to be able to do it is with a power rack, especially being able to do it safely. And the third reason that I finally pulled the trigger on this power rack is that I just stopped being lazy. I pulled out the ruler and I did my measurements. I did my calculations. I actually taped off an entire floor plan for this power rack, and I quickly realized two things. Number one, I was going to have enough headroom, and number two, the floor space that it was going to take up isn't as much as I thought. So most of us, with regards to home gyms, we're limited on the amount of space that we have. And the second problem with home gyms is oftentimes we're limited by the amount of height that we have unless you're in like a garage home gym. And thankfully, Rep Fitness's PR-4000 does have an 80-inch top version to it, which is the shorter version. Keep in mind, my ceilings are 88 inches, and I even did a calculation on if I was going to be able to do a pull-up on this thing. And yes, I can do a pull-up, full pull-up over the bar and not have my massive head hit the ceiling. Also, I was able to determine that it wasn't going to stick out and take up really more space than I thought it was going to. The PR-4000 has 3 different depths, and much like Goldilocks, you need to figure out which one is right for you. I actually taped all 3 of them off, and the narrow version for me took up less space, which is great, but I felt it was going to be too tight of an area to squat in or even bench in. The 30-inch version, which you see here, was ideal. It was that sweet spot, giving me plenty of room inside of the rack to squat, to bench, even to do other type of lifts that I might want to do, like shrugs and everything else under the sun, but it wasn't going to take up a ton of extra space. And they do have a longer version, which actually makes this thing into a square. So this distance is going to be the same as that distance. And while I think that is the way to go if you have the money and you have the space, it just was going to take up too much space for me. Having this distance to be the same as that is ideal, because then all of your attachments can be put on either way, any way you want. It really makes for a lot of functionality as you go and change and customize your power rack. As far as stability, this does have a little bit of wiggle to it. By no means is that a lot, okay? I'm actually trying kind of hard. Just a little bit of wiggle to it, and that is not an issue for me for squatting or benching. And again, I don't go that heavy. I know some of you are doing 4, 5, even 6 plates inside your power rack. That's not me. If you did want more stability, you can get feet for the front of this power rack, which is going to really lock this thing down. It also comes with a rear brace if you want to put that on. Both of those will take up more space. The brace in the back will take up 10 inches, and the legs in the front are longer than you think. I'll put the photo and the dimensions right up here. But if you really wanted a ton of stability for your power rack, that would be the way to go. And the fourth and final major reason that I went with this Rep Fitness PR-4000 has to do with, you guessed it, money. That makes the world go round, and that is usually the reason that we pick one piece of gym equipment over the other. After 2020, after the vid, we never thought we would see a home gym equipment sale again. Well, Rep Fitness finally put on another sale, and I snapped at the chance to pick this up at a discount. And I just have to say, it's always good to get pieces of home gym equipment in your home because they last you forever. It's even better if you can do it on a sale. Those are the 4 primary reasons I went with this power rack. Keep in mind, it is not a full review of the PR-4000. That's going to be coming after at least 4 more weeks of using this Rep Fitness PR-4000. A few honorable mentions and a few quick tips for any of you looking at power racks. The PR-4000 comes with any color you could think of, any color combination. I went with red and black to match my home gym theme, the feng shui down here. But keep in mind, all of the attachments are going to be matte black. So regardless of what color coding you get, those attachments are going to come in matte black, and just be aware of that. Also, with regards to space, when you're planning it out on your floor, keep in mind you are going to need about a 4-inch space, and I would say 3.5 inches minimum between a wall and your first support beam. Ideally, I thought just boom, smash it up against the wall, add a little bit more stability, take up a lot less floor space, but you're not going to be able to rack any weights on it, okay? So if you want to actually rack weights on a bar, you're going to need to have at least 3.5 inches from your wall. And as far as stability, again, I happen to think the version that I have is extremely stable and don't need any extra support, but they do have extra support available. I would imagine that if you got the larger or the longer version or even the taller version, the wiggle or wobble without any extra support, without bolting it to the floor, is going to be more than what you see here. If you already own a power rack, do me a huge favor. Comment below which power rack you got, which color, and what your decision process looked like. I am always curious what people do, what they think about before they actually step through and finally pull that trigger on picking up a power rack. Also, if you came this far in the video, you are a champion. I really appreciate that. Also, give this video a like, hit that red subscribe button. As usual, thank you for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. This channel is dedicated to my life as a father of 2 wonderful children, and it centers around health, fitness, and all of the tricks and tribulations that I go through to try to be a great parent to my children and still accomplish my own personal goals.